everyone, and welcome to our channels. This is Diaspora Doodles, and with me, I've got Momi. And today, we're going to be making another breakdown video. We hope you enjoyed the last video that we released. And if you've not watched that, please put it on the queue and watch that next. It's a good breakdown of the salaries that you will receive if you come to work in either the UK or in Spain or any other part of Europe. And it's good to do a breakdown like this. Today, we're going to be doing a breakdown that's really, really important for people who look like us, especially if you're from Nigeria and you want to relocate with the end goal of taking care of yourself in your old age. It's always good to think about the end of the journey because when you travel, you're going to travel with a destination on your mind. As an international school teacher, you have to think about who's going to take care of you when you're old and gray. You would have lost touch with people back home. And even when you move back home, it will not be the same because you're different when you've moved out of your home country. Trust me, I know. I've been there. And Omomi will say a lot about this herself. Now, I'm going to let her introduce herself. If you're new to this channel, she's going to introduce herself. And if you've been here, if you're one of our OG members, you already know Omomi, but take it away, Omomi. Let them know who you are and how amazing you are.
Hello, everyone. My name is Omomi. I'm a qualified teacher in the UK. I'm a Nigerian. I also hold a license to teach in Nigeria, and currently I live in the UK. I also have a YouTube channel where I talk about lifestyle vlog and I teaching abroad series. So I'm here again on Diaspora Doodles channel. So please subscribe, yes, like this video and share for someone that will benefit from this. So today we are going to actually be discussing, fine, if you're moving abroad, you might be thinking, oh, where do I want to move to? Do I want to move to the UK? Or people are talking about Canada. Is it Canada I want to move to? Oh, no, it's the US I want to move. Or is it Spain I want to move to? So, okay, moving abroad, we're not just coming here to come and play. Yeah, at least for some of us. So moving abroad, we want to know like the end game. Yeah, the end game in what sense means what is going to happen after some years. Am I going to be getting a permanent residency? Are some countries whereby no matter your number of years, no matter your year of service, you cannot get a permanent residency. You're just going to be on a work visa, keep renewing your visas. And there are countries whereby you have to spend some number of years before you can get their permanent residency, before you can get their passport. And there are some countries whereby you can even get it before moving from your country. There are some countries that within 1 year, 2 years, you're already a permanent residency. And what we mean by permanent residency is you can live in that country permanently. You can hold their passport of that country. We're going to be doing some comparisons just for you to know. We'll be talking about teaching abroad, move to the UK, move to Spain, move to Norway. Now we are comparing two countries today, and then you can weigh your options. Okay, if I move here, that means I'm going to live there for a number of years. That means I have to abide with these rules. That means I have things I must not do. And if I'm moving to the other country we're going to be talking about, then you know what it entails.
Fantastic. Today we're going to be concentrating on one of my permanent residency countries, and that is Spain. I decided to become a permanent resident in Spain a few years ago because I'd been to Australia, I'd been to the US. Before I moved to those countries, I looked at their residency pathway, their pathway to citizenship, what it entails, how much taxes I will pay, and if I have to still pay taxes if I'm out of that country. For example, the reason why I didn't think that the US was lucrative for me in the end was because I read up that if you're a citizen of the United States, if you move out of the United States, you will pay taxes in the United States because you're a US citizen, and you will still pay taxes where you are. So United States citizens are doubly taxed. I love my money. I want to keep it for myself. And if I don't want to keep it for myself, I can give it to charity. I don't want to be paying taxes on two different countries. I also looked at Norway. The pathway for Norway was really good, but the fact was that I didn't think I would survive in Norway for that long to get the citizenship, even though it's just 7 years in Norway to get permanent residency, and citizenship. The cost of living was just too much for me to bear. I didn't think I would survive. I had to leave. My children enjoyed being in Norway, but my pockets didn't enjoy being in Norway. I was in the Middle East for a little bit, but in the Middle East, you don't get citizenship, even if you try. The only way you can get citizenship in the Middle East is if you marry someone from there. So I settled for Spain. There's no country that's perfect. Spain has its own little knickknacks in the corner. For example, they have the Spanish law of succession, they have the Beckham law. So the Beckham law is a plus. The Spanish law of succession is not a plus because it means that whatever property I have there, the government will still tax my children or whoever inherits my property at the end of the day. So it's a balancing act, and you have to think about what you want when you make up your mind to do this. Now, without further ado, we're going to go into the routes to permanent residency in Spain. When you come to Spain, you will first have a 1 year work permit. They give you just 1 year, not two, not three, like the UK, where you get a three if you have a tier two visa. In Spain, it's just one because they don't want a situation where you come to Spain, you don't like your job, but you're stuck there for 3 years. It's sort of like a chance to have your 1 year so that you and your employer can decide if you love yourself enough to renew. And then after that year, you renew it and they give you 3 years. At the end of your 3 years, you have another 3 years. So that makes it 7. By the time you're in the 5th year, you're already classed as a permanent resident of Spain. So in Spain, you just have to stay for 5 years and you will get permanent residency.
Okay, so coming into the UK, like getting your permanent residency in the UK, it depends on the route. The UK system has several routes. So now you come into the UK to come and work on a skilled worker visa as a teacher, since this is a TeachAbroad series. So you'll be under the skilled worker visa route. So you have to live in the UK for 5 years as well. So you can get coming in, you can get a 2 years visa. You can then after your 2 years, depending on your relationship with the school, that is why I said it's similar to that of Spain. It's quite similar to that of Spain. So depending on the relationship, your relationship with the school, they can decide to renew or extend your visa, and they'll have to give you another certificate of sponsorship just to extend your visa. Or you can decide to go to apply to another school before your visa expires, and then you get a new certificate of sponsorship from another school. And this does not affect your 5 years. It's just you keep counting, even if you're living the main your sponsor that brought you into the UK and going into another like going getting another work visa from another school, you're still going to continue counting. Now, where the trick is if you come in as a student, and then after your student visa, before your student visa expire, you got a work visa, a teaching job, or let me just generalize, you got a work visa, and then you switch to a work visa, the number of years you've used on your student visa does not count. It does not count. You start counting your 5 years from when you got that work visa. That is when you start counting. And before 5 years, you should have done your life in the UK, which is still the same with Spain. You have to write the exam, life in the UK. I think it's about 50 or 60 pounds. So you can write it anytime. I'm even thinking of writing mine maybe next year. I'm proposing of writing my maybe next year. So you can write it anytime, and you can use it when you're applying for your British citizenship. Now, when you live for 5 years in the UK, there's something called ILR, indefinite leave to remain. So you can apply for this a month before your visa expires, your 5 year route visa expires. Now, in coming into the UK, you can be given a 5 years visa straight. Yes, you can have that 5 years straight, but some people don't usually want to get the 5 years straight because They are thinking, what if I come in and I don't like my job? I should, even if you don't like your job, even if you have 5 years straight, you can still switch and move on to another job. That is not an offense. So you can be given 5 years straight. Some are given 3 years, some 2 years, like I said, but you just have to leave for 5 years. Now, you can apply for your indefinite leave to remain ILR 1 month before your visa expires. Now, when your ILR is successful, a year after your ILR, then you can apply for British citizenship. All these you're going to pay in the UK. It is not free. For your ILR, it has been increased. Yes, it has been increased recently, and I think it's around 2008 something now. Yes. Now, if you want to do like priority, you want it to be out within probably 2 weeks or a week, then you pay for priority in the UK. There's something called priority in the UK, priority fees. Then you'll be paying up to 3,000 plus, around 3,300 pounds just for one person. And if you're a family of five, you know that you know that what the amount is. But the main applicant has to apply first, then get, or you can apply with your, depending on when you and your dependent, when you came in. So if your dependent came in maybe after when you came into the UK, then probably if they have not spent 5 years, you have to extend their own visa. That is easy. But if you came in at the same time, then you have to apply for everyone at the same time.
Ha!
So that is
They're
how the
making
UK
they're
permanent
making money
residency
with you
works.
guys. Guess how much I paid for my
Yes,
work?
they.
Guess how much my work permit cost?
I can't.
No, just guess. Just a good guess.
Okay, 1,000 euros, 500. Okay, let me bring it down. 500. Really? Am I going higher or lower?
You're too high.
Really? Okay, 100.
No,
Can you tell me the
nobody will
amount,
come.
please?
I won't be here. You've known me for a while now. Do you see me like someone that likes to spend my money? No. We pay 80 euros.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And I didn't pay. My employer paid because I'm a highly skilled worker and I've come on a shortage occupation job to Spain. So
Mhm.
my employer paid for my visa and brought me in. Or else I would have gone. I was going somewhere else. Yes. Yeah. So international school teaching is usually like this. They will do your evaluations for you. They will do your conversions for you. They will pay for your visa, but they own you. They own you the whole time that you're there.
Mm.
To renew to get my 5 year my residency, I paid 39 euros. Based on, and it's not based on my job, it's based on the number of years I've spent, because according to Spanish law, once you spent 5 years in Spain, you're a Spanish person. Based on your life, based on the number of years you spent, they regard you as a Spanish person. In your 5 years, you don't leave.
Mm.
You stay. Well, you can leave because I went off to do some jobs somewhere and I came back. But you have to be in the country 180 days out of the whole year. In each calendar year, you have to be there for
Mm.
180 days because that way you are classed as tax resident. And once you are classed as tax resident,
Mm.
then you are good. As long as they can tax you for that year, then you are good. You can stay in Spain. Now, my children were my dependents in Spain. My whole family is my on my they are my dependents because I work in Spain. However, they do not have to renew based on me. They renew based on their own merit because Spain sees them as individuals, even though they came on my visa. The minute they entered
Mm.
and they got their first residency, which is counting from the first day you enter, They start counting it from that day. So at the end of your 5 years, even if I don't want to become a Spanish citizen, even if I don't want to become a Spanish resident, for those who come as students,
Mm.
because I know you mentioned the students' route as well, the
Mhm.
difference is between Spain,
Yes.
you have to spend 2 years as a student, 2 years counted as one. So your 1 year as a student on a student visa is
No,
counted as half.
yes, it's
Students, they are
still
not
counted.
taxed.
Yeah,
And
it's not counted.
it's
Mm-mm.
not counted at all.
It's not counted,
No, they count it over there.
except you want to go on the no, except you want to go on the student route to get your indefinite, and that means you have to study for 10 years. You have to keep studying for 10 years.
No, if you want to become a citizen in Spain, what you need to do is spend another 5 years, but now you're a permanent resident for
Okay.
5 years because you spent your
Mm.
first 5 years. Then your next five
Five
years
years.
is for you to get ready for the exam, get ready for because of the language barrier
Okay.
and all those kind of things.
Mm.
It's different because we are Africans. If you come from Latin America,
Mm.
it's 2 years.
Mm.
2 years and you get your Spanish citizenship. And
Wow.
while you're there on your 1 year, on your first 1 year work permit, or before you become resident,
Mm.
as soon as you have if you have your baby there, your baby is a citizen after 1 year. And
Oh.
then, so those are the perks of being in Spain. But that's something
Mm.
that people should think about as well. If you come here as a teacher, and you have a baby here, your baby is entitled to Spanish citizenship after your first year
Mm.
in Spain, after the baby's
Mm.
first year in
Mm.
Spain. And then
Mm.
you don't get automatic citizenship because of your baby. You still have to stay for the number of years that you're supposed to be there.
Yes.
But your baby is
Mm.
classed as a Spanish person because it was born on Spanish soil. And I think it has something to
Mm.
do with their birth rates being very low. They're trying to encourage people to have more children. Yeah, if you're
Mm.
a teacher, you want citizenship for your children, and go to Spain. You will get Spanish citizenship after your first year,
Yeah.
but you you will not get, but your child will get. So should think about
Wow.
it. It's something to think about. It's something to research before you
Mm-hmm.
embark on the journey. So
Johnny, yes,
yes,
because like even if you give birth in the UK, your child is not a UK citizen yet.
no,
Yes.
but in
In fact,
Spain,
you will have in fact, when you give birth here, I've seen people give birth here in the UK, they still get their Nigerian passport for their children. And so if that child is will be traveling out of the UK, then you have to apply for them to be your dependent. But if they're not traveling out, well, you might not apply for them to be a dependent. If they will be in the UK all through your 5 years, they're not going outside.
no,
Well, then
no,
yeah. Yes, that
that's
is
like
yes.
prisoner.
You
Handcuff me.
pay no
No,
fine, but I heard of a rule. But there's a rule whereby if the child is 7 years and has stayed for 7 years in the UK, not living the UK, 7 years in the UK, then you can apply for their citizenship if they are born here, if they have lived for 7 years. So yeah, that is about the
wow.
UK. Now let me quickly touch on the UK has a lot of rules. Let me quickly touch on what you're supposed to do if you're on this 5 years route. One, you have to read your contract very well. There are some organizations that will tell you you're not allowed to work with another sector while working with them. So you must not violate these rules. There are some rules whereby you can only work 20 hours outside of your main job. If you come in as a teacher, then if you want to work maybe on part time, it has to be 20 hours and it has to be on the same occupation code as your teaching job, the same occupation code as the one you came in on a certificate of sponsorship. Or recently it was added that it can also be another job that is under shortage occupation list. That is where you can do your 20 hours. Before it has to be the same occupation code. It has to be the same. But recently it was added that it can be on one of the jobs on that shortage occupation list that you must do your 20 hours. So you must not do more than 20 hours aside of your main job. So you have to follow all these routes. And while on this skilled worker visa, you cannot think, oh, okay, I no longer like my job. My wife also got a skilled worker visa, and then I want to switch to be a dependent. While you be a dependent, while your wife will be the main applicant. If you switch, that means you're starting all over again. That means you have to count the 5 years. If you're already 4 years into your skilled worker visa route, and then you just feel, okay, my wife got a certificate of sponsorship elsewhere. I no longer want to be a main applicant. I just want to be a dependent. And you switch, you're going to start counting your 5 years all over again. So you have to be on the same route for 5 years.
I took a break from my highly skilled work, and I took a break because I went to
Wow.
work for a private company. Came back, went on my, still carried on with the job I was doing as a teacher. Because after my first year in Spain, in fact, that's going to be a full video. After my first year in Spain, I took a break and I went off for 2 years to work for a private, another institution entirely. And I came back into full time teaching, and they were still counting my visa. So, yeah,
Mhm.
that's Spain for you.
I think
Then, number two
the only
was,
break you have in the UK, the only break you can have in the UK is you can go out. Yes, I didn't touch this. If you want to go outside in the of the UK, you must not spend more than 180 days, which is three. I think that's three
yeah,
months.
I think that's European law
90 days.
general. That's
90 days.
six
Yeah.
months.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
six months,
Yeah,
because if you
you must
if
not
you
live
spend
outside.
if you spend more than 180 days, you are classed as tax resident in another country. The other country can
Country.
tax you. So I think that's why they put
Mm,
it that way, so that they can still tax you. If you like, go wherever you want to go. When you come back and you pay our taxes. So I think that is
mm,
a European thing, because that's they do that in Spain as well. Another thing
mm.
they do in Spain, so another thing they do in Spain is that you cannot do the exam, the life in Spain exam, until 2 months before it's time for you to apply for your citizenship.
Oh,
2 months
okay.
when it's time for you to apply for citizenship. So after your 5 years, you don't write any exam, you don't do anything, you are automatically a permanent resident. Then they give you 10 years after that. After your first 5 years, they give you 10 years, especially for us expatriates. They know that it's hard for us, especially English speaking ones. They know it's hard for us to pick that
Mm,
language to the point where you write an exam. And the
language.
exam
Yeah,
is, it's not hard, it's just tedious for people if they don't speak the language properly, because you have to
yeah.
read, you have to do comprehension, you have to do your grammar. It's like IELTS, Spain. Anything else we want to leave for the audience today?
Yeah, I would just say just like we have compared, just go where you're needed, like Jay will always preach. Go where you're needed. Even if with all these countries, I've seen people leave the UK, go to Canada, and they are still complaining Canada is this, Canada is that. So it's not always greener on the other side, but weigh
Yes,
your options, like go where God wants you to be, and then with prayer you will be fine. If it's Spain, you will do well in Spain. If it's Canada, with God you do well. With the UK, with God you will do well in the UK, even with all the taxes and the money you will do well. So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's it for
yeah.
today.
Thank you so much, everyone, for following us to the end of this. If you like this and you want more content about comparing different countries when you teach abroad, please like, subscribe, and share. And we shall see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.